What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully, everyone is staying well, staying safe, healthy, and hopefully testing negative for COVID. It is time for our weekly Sunday wastewater update for Sunday, June 4th, 2023. This is our first wastewater update for the month of June. And starting off on a national level from BioBot Analytics, taking a look here, we can see in all regions at this time, wastewater is dropping, at least according to them on all four regions. And you can see the one where it's dropping the least, that would be in the northeastern states. And a part of that is because of a rise that's ongoing in New York State. And also, we are seeing a rise in the Boston metro area. If you saw yesterday's pandemic update, I did show a graphic that showed rising wastewater in the Boston metro area. As always, we start off with the CDC site here. And first thing we're going to do is read the list here. New sites, 136. Sites with a 0 to 19% wastewater detected that could be COVID, 610. 20 to 39% COVID detected, 414. 40 to 59% COVID detected, 129. 60 to 79% is at 25, and unfortunately in the red this week, it has increased to 9, and that would be 80 to 100%. So orange and red did increase this week, and that's not good, and it does give us reason to believe, going back to this BioBot here, it's showing dropping here, but I think there's enough sites that we'll see today that I can safely say, don't go by this dropping. Go by what we're going to see here. Don't let that fool you and say, oh, well, it's dropping nationally. I'm fine. No, there are some areas that are rapidly rising. We're going to take a look at some of the red ones. We're going to take a look at a little bit of everywhere. Starting off like we always do in the Northeast. Let's start off in Maine. Here's Kennebec. And you can see here in Maine, and I'm going to move myself over here so you can see the charts. In Kennebec, Maine, 19,000 at this watershed. It is ever so slightly starting to rise. Remember, this is post-Memorial Day, so we're looking to see if we see rises in regions that see tourism. And Maine definitely is a candidate for that, because they saw a huge number of people go up there at Memorial Day weekend. Here's the big site in Cumberland County, Maine. That's Portland, Maine. And it doesn't update very frequently, but some of the smaller sites for Cumberland County. Here's one that's 15,000. Unfortunately, this one, it's starting to rise. There's another one in Cumberland County with 65,000. This one updates more frequently. And this one is starting to rise. Then you come down here to York County, Maine. Thankfully, that one's dropping. And this other one is dropping as well. Now for Boston. This doesn't update very frequently. But like I said, we have a graphic that shows otherwise. And let me pull up that graphic here. Here it is. Wastewater SARS-CoV-2 concentration the last 7 days, and you can see as we get to the end of May, it's this data through May 23rd, it is starting to rise. So despite what we see on the CDC map, this data from the city of Boston themselves is detecting that, yes, there is a rise in wastewater. I don't know why this hasn't updated. I don't know why it still says flat, but we clearly can't go by that. Then when we go to Middlesex, and maybe that's what that was using, I don't know, which is 180,000 people, it is starting to rise here as well. We do have one Orange County. And wow, look at this in Worcester, 42,000 population at this watershed. It started off, and it looks like ever since it started, it dropped a little bit in the beginning of May, but look at that, it's just continued to rise. This is not good. Should this wastewater site continue like this, it's actually going to move over to the red pretty soon. Taking a look at Burlington, Vermont, Chittenden County, you can see 8,500 in this watershed, and it is flat at this time. All right, moving over to New York State, and in Albany area, dropping ever so slightly. Saratoga, this is the one that we want to see, 152,000, rising ever so slightly. Let's take a look at this Delaware County, New York. It's a smaller watershed, but it's coming up red. It's red and rising. Here's one in Oswego, 12,117. It is slightly rising in the orange. Here's another one in the orange, Yates County, 5,339. Small watershed, but it is rapidly rising. Should that continue, it would reach high transmission soon. Erie County, New York, not doing too bad at this time. Moving down here to the lower Hudson Valley, we do have some orange areas. Sullivan, Smaller wastewater shed, but it's orange and slightly rising. Here's another one, Dutchess. It's smaller waste shed, but this one's rapidly rising. And let's zoom out and let's take a look at New York City Metro. You can see here, Queens rising, rising in Bronx. Another for New York. This is like Manhattan, close to Manhattan. It's rising. And you can see we're just going around here. Some of them have leveled off, which is good. Here's a Kings County one. This is a big wastewater site, 1 million, and it is rising. Here's another one in Kings, slightly dropping, so that's good to see. Here's another one in Kings that's rising. Here's one that's dropping, but for the most part, the majority of these sites are rising. Now we come down here to Monmouth County, and again, this is not updating, it's just flat. But there is one big site we want to look at in New Jersey, and Essex, Bergen, Hudson, Union, and Passaic, and at the time, this is flat for right now. Coming down into Pennsylvania, my neck of the woods, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Slightly rising once again. That's not good to see. Still gray on our Philadelphia wastewater sites. I don't know if that's ever going to get fixed. Chester County, Pennsylvania, it's starting to rise a little bit. And you know, Montgomery and Chester County, we've seen a ton of ambulance calls lately, so this is not good to see. 10,500. But the wastewater sampling sites in Chester and Montgomery County are so small compared to the actual population of the counties. Lehigh County, again, this is small compared to the population of the county, but it is rising. Poconos, the two sites there are dropping, and they just had a major holiday weekend, so that's actually not a bad thing to see. Coming out to western Pennsylvania, you can see here for the most part dropping. Now let's take a look at Ohio. We do have Fayette County, Ohio, which is in the high red, but look at that. It is starting to drop now. Then we come out closer to Columbus, Franklin County. It's low to near moderate, and if it continues up at the rate that's going, this is a big watershed, 645,000 people. That is going to hit high pretty soon. The rest of Ohio, pretty much a mixed bag. Some are dropping, some are rising. Here's one in Erie County, Ohio, that is rising. Then we come down here to Virginia. You can see Virginia is not doing terrible at this time. Quite a few dropping sites. Here's one near Roanoke that hit the orange moderate level last week, but now it is dropping. And if we take a look at D.C., there is one wastewater site we can look at in D.C. 1.6 million. Huge wastewater site. One of the biggest ones that we look at. And this one in D.C., it's low to near moderate, and it's rapidly going up. That's going to hit moderate relatively soon. North Carolina, we do have some red sites and orange sites. One red site. Union County, only 17,000 people. Wow, going straight up. That is not good. It's a smaller site, but again, look what's surrounding it. Bunch of orange sites. Carbus, 6,800 people and almost 6,900. It's moderate but dropping. The one to the north of that is 226,000 people. Again, moderate but dropping. Here's another one that's moderate. Henderson County, 43,633 people. Then we come over here closer to Greensboro, and things are dropping at this time. South Carolina, we do have a red site there. Beaufort, 20,000 people. It is high, but dropping after a lengthy time frame of rising. And taking a look at these other sites, Fulton, this is Georgia now, and Atlanta area, it's not terribly bad. A lot of these sites do not update in the Atlanta metro area. I don't know what the reasoning is for that. Let's see if we're getting updates out of Miami and Orlando area. First, Orlando, Orange County. Here's one that's rapidly rising. 59,000 population. It's moderate. It's near moderate, and you know what? That's going to definitely be moderate next week, if not high, if it continues at that rate, because it's rapidly going up. And the rest of Florida is not doing terrible at this time. Let's go check Louisiana. So here's down near New Orleans. Not doing too bad there. Dropping at this time. Here's one closer to the Gulf Coast. This one has 30,000 population. It is rapidly rising. What's going on with this site here in Arkansas? It is coming up red. Whoa. St. Francis, 13,000 population. Not a big site, but it is rapidly rising. Then we come up here to Illinois, and we can see Christian County, Illinois, 12,000 watershed. It is dropping. And the good news is Chicago. Let's take a look at Chicago here. Here's the bigger site in Cook County. It is starting to drop. Taking a look at other sites. That one didn't update all that frequently. Here's another one that's 217,000. Here's one in Lake County that is rising. low to near moderate. It may hit moderate soon if it continues at that rate. There's another one in the lake, which is low to near moderate. It is rising. So some of these sites are rising, some of them are dropping. So that's not terrible. And the biggest site in Chicago is now dropping. So that's good news. Coming up here to Wisconsin, not doing too terrible on Wisconsin. I mean, there are a couple sites that you'll see that are rising, but for the most part, like this one, it was rising, and it's leveling off now. You can see the majority of these are dropping. Here's one that's rising, Brown, coming over here to Vernon, slightly rising, but not terrible. Let's come up here to Minnesota, 150,000, and it has leveled off. Nebraska is not doing terrible. Then we come down here to Oklahoma, not doing terrible. Texas is also not doing too bad. Look at this. We're in the Metro Dallas area. We're just randomly going through sites here. And you can see, I have not shown you one yet here that is rising. Here's one that is, but it's a very small sample, so we can't really go too much by that. Then we come over to Travis, 500,000 people dropping. Another 510,000 people dropping. Coming over to Harris, it is a little bit more flat. We may start to see a rise. Here's one that is rising. So that is an area that, yes, it is a little bit concerning there, but the majority of them are flat. El Paso, here's one that is rising. It's approaching moderate levels. Will be moderate next week if it continues at this rate. Then we come out here to another red site in Arizona. And it's a very small site, 3,500 in this wastewater shed, and it is rapidly rising. Look at this. We got some red sites in Guam. What's going on in Guam? Let's take a look at that. And you can see here, Guam, just 7,000 in this watershed. It is rapidly rising. It's already at high. Here's one that's 105,000, and it was rapidly rising. It's still rising, just not as fast. And yeah, it's high. That's not good. Now we come down here to Los Angeles, 4 million, the biggest wastewater site we look at, and it is still flat. This one down in Orange County, California, flat, and coming up here, working our way north in California, coming up closer to the Bay Area. You can see here's one that's moderate, but it's dropping in Monterey, and there's a ton of sites near San Francisco, and look at them. For the most part, you can see they're flat, and they're also not updating all that frequently. A lot of these. Yeah, we're not getting a lot of updates out of these. That's just sad to see. Because this is again, it's a populated area. And I don't think I've clicked on one yet that updates frequently. So that's not good. Coming up here now into Oregon. You can see here, Oregon, Benton County, 58,000 at this watershed, slightly dropping. Here's another one, Lane County. That was low to near moderate. Now it's starting to drop. Here's another one that's dropping. And yeah, Oregon's not doing too bad. Now we come up here to Washington, and we do have one that's rising. Island County. That's already at moderate. It's rising at a good clip. Almost rapidly rising, you could say. And if it continues at this rate, it's going to move into the high category relatively soon. The rest of Washington, look at this, dropping, low, and dropping, low. This one is rising, and let's reverse ourselves for a second. This one's about ready to level off. Should it do that, it may start rising. Here's another one that's getting ready to start to rise. 33,000 wastewater population at that one. And we'll finish today. We'll just go through Utah real quickly. Salt Lake, flat. All these sites, for the most part, are flat. Some of them are even starting to rise, but not terrible. And finally, taking a look at Colorado. Colorado, this one's dropping. There's another one that's flat. This one is starting to rise, but it's a smaller wastewater site. Alrighty, folks, that does it for this week's wastewater update. We'll have another wastewater update next Sunday. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. I will see you all again later today for the pandemic update. But until I see you again later today, stay safe, everyone. Have a great day.